Hello, my friends again. Now, new objective, which is gonna be, this is also a new section where we're gonna start working on the conversation. So the conversation simply is like a convo between me or a certain user, or it can be a conversation between many users. So the objective of this section is gonna be like pretty simple. First of all, we will actually create a conversation. Let's say, for example, I want to open a conversation with someone, I can create that. And there are two scenarios for this one. For example, this user, we already created, a conversation between us. We already talked to each other. That means in this time, I will just get the conversation and not actually, created from the scratch. So that's the difference that's going to be when opening or creating a conversation. The second thing is to get all the conversations of that user. Rather, it is just a normal conversation between the user and another user, or it's a group chat. So this is like the whole idea. And also group chats can contain two, like it is fine, and it also can exist if there is one person left in that group. You can still be existing there, and you can also add many others. So let me show you how we're gonna start. The first thing that we have to do is to go to models, and we're gonna create a model right here. So let me add here, and let me call this conversation model .js, and then simply I will start here. So as I told you, first of all, we have mongoose. We need to get that. So after getting a mongoose, we need to just directly construct. So I can go const and then call it conversation schema right here, and this simply is going to go to mongoose, and then we're going to go to schema, and we will define the schema inside. So the first one is going to be the name. So the type of it, of course, it is string, and then also it is required like that, and this is simply is going to be true. So it is required, and we can have a message that says conversation name is required. Okay, it's nothing but conversation name is actually required. And also we need to trim the name. Okay, so trim and then true. I feel like that should be a name of the group, or maybe should we trim it actually for a name of the conversation if it's a group or something? Yeah, we can trim it, because trimming is just like gonna remove like extra spaces that we don't need, so it's nothing bad. So also we can have another property which is gonna be is group. Okay, so if is it a group or not, and this type of this is just gonna be true or false, and that means it's gonna be a boolean. And this is very simple what we are doing. Sorry, what I've done. We'll just do it this way, type and then boolean. That is the first thing, and it's also something required. So we always ask that, but this is just gonna be without any message, okay, because we don't need this, because in the default value we'll just make it false by default. And then every conversation is gonna have users in it, and this users is gonna be an array, because it could be 1, 2, whatever. So it's gonna be the type of it, it's just gonna be an object ID, because this is gonna be the IDs of the user itself. Okay, and using that ID we can get the informations of that user, and I'm gonna talk about that later. So this user right here is just simply gonna be referring to something. So it's just gonna be referring to what? Which is the user model, like this. This is user, just simply by the, so for example, if I have a user inside this array, what is going to be? Just going to be an object ID that has an ID. I can use that ID to go to the user model and get all the informations of that user when I want to populate. So this is going to be an object ID, so we need to extract that. So I'm going to just go const and then object ID. So we have to go to mongoose and then, mongoose. Then we're going to go to schema, and then we're going to go to types. Okay, because in it you can find the object ID if you want it. So just extracting it there. So now that we have it, we can use it there. So now that we have the users in the conversation, also I can have something like which is the latest message. And the reason for that is because, as you see, like it's going to be on the left side, it's going to be the list of our conversations, and we're going to have the last message there if it exists. So we need to show that message. So we can say latest message, and this latest message is simply the type is going to be also object ID, okay, and it's going to be referring to the message model, which is we still didn't create it, but it's going to be referring to a message, okay, which has many other properties that we will cover later. And then also this, if it's a group, it should have like some sort of admin. So we can see admin right here, and the type of it also is going to be an object ID. All right, this is going to be type, type. And then, so this is the type objects ID, and also the reference is going to be to user ID, and the user model. Can I get just some completion, please? User model like this. And this is for the admin right here. We're going to add, as I told you, we're going to define the names of the collection, which is going to be conversations like this. And then also we will add timestamps, which is going to be also true like that. So this is like extra, properties that we need. So the name in the database is going to be conversations, and the timestamps for created as an updated ad is going to be also true. Now I'm going to go here and I'm just going to go conversation model, and this is simply going to be mongoose. Let me just check if I did a test for the user. So I didn't. Well, I actually did. So let me copy that to save time. And then I'm going to take that and paste it here. And I'm just going to go, this one is going to be conversation model. Model like that. So conversation model. I need an N right here. I hope I'm doing this right. So conversation model. Okay. So if it does exist, then good. If it doesn't, we will create it. We're using what? Using the conversation schema. I like to be lowercase for this one. So I'm just going to go and have it here. And I'm going to just simply export that as default. So the conversation model. I just don't want to make any typos. And then we'll go to my index right here and I will just import it. So the conversation model from the conversation model. And I am going to export that. So let me just go here. So yeah, let me just rename this conversation model like this. It is fine. Just whatever you name it, just make sure you're following the same pattern. So I use the user to be lowercase, so I cannot go in here and make it uppercase. We gotta be consistent. So the conversation model. Okay, so now that we've created it, the next thing that we have to do is to create some routes and then also create certain conversations between certain users.